I'm Jen from House One, and today I'm showing how to build an easy bench for a dining room. Adding a bench to a dining room is a great way to add seating when you need it and store it neatly under the table when you don't. To make sure that mine is both strong and sturdy, I'm building it out of a thick stair tread material and using notched construction to make sure that it won't ever wobble. I'm also adding a backrest for safety and as a comfort element for when adults are using the bench. The base of the bench is made up from two parts, a backrest support with a ripped angle for a slight recline, and a seat support with an arch for visual interest. An added notch locks the three base parts into a cross rail to support the bench seat and backrest. To get started, I'll rip the bullnose off the stair treads using my circular saw guided by a straight edge. To cut the thinner pieces for the taller backrest, I opted to cut on a piece of foam, since my offcut is pretty wide to be hanging off the edge of my work surface. I grabbed this small piece of foam from my home center for just a few dollars, and I keep it handy anytime I have to make cuts like this in the shop. I then use my miter saw to cut all the base parts to length. Lastly, I cut the angle from the back portion to create a slight recline, which will be a bit more comfortable of a position for an adult. It's now time to prep and assemble the two parts of the base. Now, I'll just say that when I built this bench, I cut the arch first and then glued the pieces together. But since the arch falls right where the two boards come together, I think it would have been a smoother cut if I had glued them up first and then cut the arch second. To mark the arched foot, I marked the pivot point on the board and then used a paint stick with a nail as a pivot point and a pencil to mark the arch. I also marked the 1 1/4 inch wide notch along the top edge of the board using a speed square. Now I could use my jigsaw to cut the arch in each base piece, and then to carefully cut out the notches. To prep the rail, I mitered the ends at 30 degrees, and then marked and cut the 1 inch wide notches using a piece of the base cutoff to check the width of the opening. Lastly, I cut the 1x12 bench seat to length, and then clipped the bottom corners of the 1x6 backrest to soften the look. With all my parts ready, I applied glue to the joint between the base pieces and clamped them to dry overnight. When it comes to clamping pressure, my best advice is to clamp securely enough that you see a little bit of glue squeeze out, but not so tightly that the pieces start to buckle or bridge upward. The next day I removed the clamps and sanded all the parts smooth. To assemble the parts, I applied glue to the notches and placed the rail into the notches in each base. I then used a speed square to make sure everything was positioned properly. Now I could set the seat in place and drive 2 screws through the seat and into each base. I repeated this process to attach the backrest, leaving it slightly raised above the supports, and again driving 2 screws through the backrest and into each support. After a few coats of paint and a protective clear coat, this bench is ready for many gatherings to come. I hope you enjoyed this project. For more easy woodworking and tool tutorials, visit the House One channel on thisoldhouse.com. I'm Jenn Largesse, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.